The Joint Program on Empowering Adolescent Girls and Young Women Through Their Education is a joint initiative between UNESCO, UNFPA, and UN Women. It applies a collaborative, coordinated, and multi-sectoral approach to break the cycle of exclusion and vulnerability, working in and across education, health, youth, skills development, and women's economic empowerment. In Nepal, the joint program was implemented in partnership with the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, with funding from Korea International Cooperation Agency. The project included supporting out-of-school girls and young women with educational support, such as through functional literacy programs and integrated comprehensive sexuality education components, and with vocational skills training to support entry and retention in the labor market. Through these provisions, vulnerable girls and young women are more able to engage in sustainable and improved livelihoods, as well as employment and income opportunities. These are the stories of girls and young women who have become advocates and champions for girls' rights. Chanda, a champion for disadvantaged girls. Chandasa was inspired to pursue a career in education while working as a facilitator for the UNESCO Functional Literacy class. Pregnancy at a young age has huge costs for girls' reproductive and psychological health, and they are more likely to be subjected to gender-based violence, says Chanda. We must empower girls to speak out for their own well-being. That's why I will continue to work in education, she says. Chanda works with girls who have dropped out of school, girls who have never attended school, and girls who are or have been married young. Child brides are denied further education, lack literacy, and are unable to manage their finances, making them completely dependent on others. Girls who earn a living and get an education show their families what they are capable of, and they become role models in the community, says Chanda. The vocational training program supported by Joint Program has helped women in her community install sewing machines and become financially independent. Paswan, an aspiring entrepreneur from Sirlahi. Paswan, aged 25, was married at 10 years old and gave birth to her 5 children at a very early age, leading to many medical complications. She was unable to read, write, or count for much of her life because she left school at a young age. When she learned about the functional literacy class, FLC, in the joint program, she was determined to learn these basic literacy skills. In addition to literacy, numeracy, and other practical skills, joining the FLC class helped Paswan understand her own difficult experiences as a child bride and young mother by informing her about their reproductive health. Paswan also received vocational training through the program. She now continues to apply her new knowledge with a group of women that make handicrafts. She is very motivated to help women in her community gain the sense of empowerment and confidence like she has. The program changed my life, Paswan says. I used to feel ignorant before, but I am now worldly and wise. She hopes to put everything she learned to use and build onto the family business by opening a shop. I could run the shop myself. I wouldn't have to rely on anyone else, she says. I can do math. I can handle money. I can confidently carry out transactions. I would be totally independent. Komal, an advocate for girls' education. Komal, who is 15 years old, dropped out of school by the time she was in grade 6 because of her frequent teacher absences and low engagement. However, 2 years later, she took part in the functional literacy class of the joint program and was inspired to go back to school as she discovered the value of her education. I used to think that I was a poor student, but now I think I am a good student and can do well, says Komal. Komal learned how to advocate for her own education, how to recognize and report gender-based violence, and how to pay attention to her own reproductive health and address health concerns. She even learned about sexual exploitation and human trafficking, and how to protect herself. The program has improved my life. I am confident that I will do well in the future, she says. She now hopes to spread the knowledge she has learned to other girls like her. Nagina, an ambitious student from Murchieva. Nagina Sada had to drop out of school after grade 4 because her parents couldn't support her education. She agreed to quit her studies to help her mother with household chores. Nagina joined the functional literacy class in the joint program to improve her basic literacy skills, but she also learned the information she needed to advocate for herself and to transition back to school. I want to become a bank manager because it's a good job that will help me provide for my family, she says. and I need to study beyond the 12th grade for that. Despite being back in school, Nagina remains keenly aware of the pressures that may disrupt her education. I am afraid that I may have to quit my studies again due to poverty, she says. And unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic has since compounded these pressures. In Nagina's community, girls are often married young, well before the legal age, but Nagina was always aware that she wanted a different future for herself. Regardless of the potential obstacles, Nagina remains committed to her education. Her parents are also now supportive of her ambitions. She is a clever and confident girl and is showing that she is very capable, says her mother.